A very good morning to all my dear friends. I hope you all are doing good. I'm Prashant Mauni and I warmly welcome all of you to Study IQ. It's a very beautiful morning today, and let's start our day with a positive quote from Aristotle. Educating the mind without educating the heart is no education at all. Now let me break it down this thing for you. What he means here is basically mind and heart. When he talks about mind and heart, or generally speaking, when we talk about mind and heart, we are talking about the logical part of our life, and then you have this emotional part of our life. Now one thing is that if you observe your universities, your schools, everything is training us for logical part, but hardly we get training regarding emotions. Many times it is considered bad as well, that you are being too emotional, sentimental and things like that. But one thing about our brain is that we receive, when I say brain, I'm talking about the physical part that we have got in our skull. The way it is designed, it captures emotional information first, and then this emotional information, or whatever information it gathers, right, first it is sent to the emotional department, and after a couple of seconds or microseconds it reaches this logical part. So this is how we are designed, right? So emotions play a very important role, and the need of the hour is to train ourselves with emotional intelligence, keeping a fine balance between emotions and our logical part. This is the best thing that we can do, and I'm sure you might have heard about this thing, emotional intelligence. For those students preparing for Civil Services Examination, you have a paper number 4 as well, in which you find definitions of this sort of things, right? And it's not only about your paper number 4, it is about your life as well. It helps you a lot, right? It is said that we are not trained emotionally, or we are not trained how to manage our emotions in our school life. Most of the time we find that crying and other things are considered bad, particularly for the boys, but it is one of the purest emotion that you can have. Anyways, enough said about this thing. In future, if there is an sort of occasion, then we will talk about this thing in detail. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ has launched many pen drive and tablet courses recently. GPSC, that is Gujarat Public Service Commission, philosophies for your UPSC philosophies optional paper pen drive and tablet course is out. Then you have this test series of SSC CGL. Make sure you check out StudyIQ.com. Now the first editorial that we have is pertaining to stock market, and more than that, it is about India and USA, or how things are going to be after this change of stance by this federal bank. Now this 2018, right, it has came with a sort of you can say good surprise, or the 2018's biggest gift for the investor is that this global stock market has kicked off, or you can say it has touched new highs, right? It has reached new lifetime highs. So naturally, more money coming into the pockets of investors, it is going to fill them up with cheer. Now the thing is, the way this year has started, and the way 2017 was a year of momentum in terms of stock market. So this sort of kickstart of 2018 indicates that this momentum is going to continue, and countries like India, if we see stock markets of USA, EU, Japan and other Asian countries, all of them are doing quite well. Particularly Indian stocks are among the biggest winners of this momentum or this rally. It would look very nice, and it is not bad as well, but there are some other things that we have to understand, and very quickly I will break it down for you guys, because I believe after a couple of months we are seeing an editorial or a topic that is based on Fed, right? Fed Reserve, or you can say Federal Bank, just like RBI is for India. In the same way, Fed Reserve is for this federal bank is for USA. So most of the money that we are getting in stock market is coming from USA or this rich countries, right? And this indicates that there is at present, the way things are going on with our stock market, the way it is climbing new heights, it indicates excess liquidity. Now what this means, what are the things that are running behind it? See, the thing is, dear friends, that see, USA at present, for a very long period of time, it was not doing that well in terms of economy. So all those investors who were having money to invest, they started looking towards country like India and China, countries that are developing with a very good pace. And in fact, India is one of the fastest developing major economy in the world. So naturally, when you invest money in this sort of developing country or developing economy, the return that you are going to get is going to be much higher compared to your slow down domestic market. So this was one of the reasons why money was being transferred from country like, say for example, USA to India. The other thing is that see, money that you get as investment in stock market is short term in nature, so you never know when this money will go back. What ideally we need a fine balance of short term as well as long term investment. When I say long term investment, I'm talking about investing in factories, creating physical infrastructure in our country. This will create jobs, and this is something that India is seeking at present, because we have a very huge amount of young population, so we need to provide them with livelihood opportunities. Anyways, so you read here this thing called accommodative monetary policy. Now you have two different types of you can say stance or posture that normally your federal banks will carry. One is neutral. Neutral basically means just like a neutral thing for your car or bike. You know, you have a neutral position. So in neutral position, we are not driving or riding our bike or car, and we are not doing anything basically. So in the same way, when you read this thing that RBI is going to carry on with its neutral stance, so there won't be any change in interest rate in near future. Accommodative basically means that you are alert, you are keeping your eyes and ears open, so if required you will make necessary changes. Now, why this necessary or accommodative stance is something that is keeping the markets around the world on a sort of alert, because how it works is basically that Fed Reserve, right, it has decreased the price of you can say loan, or it has made loan be cheaper by reducing its interest rate. So when the loans are cheaper, you can take a loan. I'm giving you a sort of hypothetical, of course a real but hypothetical example, and I believe with the help of this example you will be able to understand how things work, right? So if you need further explanation, then do let me know. I will, but I believe most of you would be able to understand with the help of this information. So when the loans are cheaper in terms of interest rate is down, then you will take loan from US Federal Reserve or a Bank of USA, some bank in USA, and then you can invest this money in a developing country. The return that you will get, or the money that you will earn from this investment minus this interest that you have to pay, so you would be making a very good amount of profit. Now when the interest rate goes up, so naturally you will not get that much the loan won't be that profitable for you to do this sort of business. So naturally investment or the money that you were injecting in developing country like India is going to go down. Second thing is that if you are making more money, if interest rates are higher, and if you invest the money that you have in domestic market, if you are going to get more interest by keeping your money in the bank or in some other place, then naturally rather than taking risk in unknown or uncharted market, it is better that you invest in your something familiar turf, right? So this again will take away money from stock market. It may divert the money if the interest rate goes up. Now you also read this sort of term called taper tantrum, and many times it creates a panic in aspirants, like what this thing is all about. Let me simplify this thing for you. It is just what we have discussed right now. This thing of making a loan cheaper is known as quantitative easing, right? Quantitative easing basically means you are easing the quantity of money in the market, right? So how you do it? You don't deposit 10,000 rupees in each and every citizen. This is not how it works. What you do is you reduce your interest rate. So that's how this supply of money will go up. It is also known as a stimulus package. When the economy is not doing that well, then you provide a sort of stimulus, right? When you are feeling a bit lazy or sleepy in the morning, the way you have your cup of coffee or tea to give you a sort of stimulus. In the same way, this sort of quantitative easing or this sort of lowering off this interest rate is known as a stimulus package because it will provide a sort of nudge or a push to the slowing down economy, right? And then you have this, basically I hope this thing is clear. So taper tantrum, taper is when this quantitative easing is done, whatever your mission is, if it is achieved, then now you have to increase this interest rate. So taper basically means gradually, right, very slowly increasing the interest rate and making loan bit expensive, step by step, right? And this taper tantrum basically took place back in 2013. There was a sort of news, that this Federal Reserve is going to taper, and this created a sort of panic. So this is called taper tantrum. So for you, it is important to understand what taper is, right? So that's everything that we have got here in this article. With this, other articles are not that informative. When I say not that informative, I mean to say I am saying this thing because we have already talked about this thing. If you want to give it a go, then do go through, read this whole article and compare it with the things that we have discussed yesterday. You were provided with a picture yesterday of Battle of Koregaon. I did provided you the picture of the place where this celebration takes place every year, right? And we also talked about many different things as well, isn't it? How we things that were not even given in the article. So what I'm trying to tell you here is that the analysis that we do here is truly designed, or the things that we discuss here will definitely help you in building your capacity, in widening your gaze, right? And the reason why I'm saying that this sort of things is not for self-praise, not at all. That is not at all my motive here. My motive here is to highlight or to, you can say, draw your trust on the things that we discuss here, because many times this thing do take place that if you don't trust something completely, if you have it is basically like you want to evaporate water, but you are at 99 degrees Celsius, right? This is not going to change the state of water. It is going to be in the liquid state. You will see all the bubbles and things, but that evaporation won't take place. As soon as you add 1 degree Celsius in it, as soon as you hit 100 degrees Celsius, right, you will see a sort of sudden change. So this is what trust does with our education, right? So you might have observed that the news item that we talk, most of the time you find them in as editorials and articles, and this indicates that the things that we are discussing are important here. Anyways, very quickly, we know that this thing that took place here in the state of Maharashtra and in some parts of other states as well is sad. At the end of the day, people of one country are against each other. There are many background things that are going on or that have been going on. We know this untouchability thing and caste system plays a very important role. But the root of this thing is livelihood, right? Which is discussed here. I'm not sure whether we have talked about this thing yesterday. I believe I think I did mention livelihood, but just in case if I haven't, then let me tell you that it is the livelihood that matters the most, right? Once you are earning money, once you are a breadwinner of your family, then of course you will refrain from this sort of things, right? You won't leave everything behind and take stones in your hand or petrol bombs or whatever, because you are altogether on a different level, right? So livelihood is a big thing, and you have this scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, they get some sort of benefits, and there are some other communities that don't get this sort of benefits. So there is a sort of issue or a struggle between both these communities. Now the thing is why they fight, or why everyone wants this sort of reservation, because it is about formal jobs. In our country, roughly speaking, 6% jobs of the total jobs that we create or that we have falls under this category of formal jobs. So nearly 95% jobs are informal. So naturally everyone would like to join these formal jobs, and government jobs are part of this formal jobs. So this is the reason why there is one of the reason why you have struggled. Then you have other factors playing here: lack of education, lack of knowledge about history, right? I don't think so many people would be knowing about that Mahez used to they were troops of Marathas, right, earlier on. And later on we find them that they are troops of East India Company. So it is not about Mehers, or it is not about Marathas, right? It depends. It is their choice. But of course, when you appreciate, or when you are celebrating, and when you are creating a sort of situation that is going to hurt someone else, then you find this sort of things. And sad thing is that the police were knowing about this sort of tensions that was brewing in this part, but sadly they didn't took any sort of step. And it is not only about police, right? Police is a front thing. On the back side you have these politicians. They are calculating their brownie points, how much they can earn out of it. When I say earn, I'm not talking about physical cash, I'm talking about sentiments, and how it is going to work for them in upcoming election. This is a very sad thing. This is a real picture of dirty politics. Now let's see how things are being tackled by Devendra Fadnavis government, because at the end of the day it doesn't matter which party you belong to. If you are running the government, then it is your responsibility. With this, dear friends, this is about Rajinikanth. We have talked about Rajinikanth quite a lot of time. So very quickly, we know the troubled waters after the passing away of Jayalalitha. Things are not right. We see so many changes taking place. Political struggle. DMK, that is the opposition party, is also not in a good shape, because the main man of DMK is not in a good shape in terms of his health, right? Because of many issues going on with his health. So this creates a sort of vacuum, and Rajinikanth has decided that he is going to step in and fill this vacuum. The big question is in everyone's mind, that whether he will be able to prove himself. We know that his reputation is at stake. He is very famous, not only in our country, or not only in Tamil Nadu, but in country as well as around the world too. The other thing is that Tamil Nadu, when we talk about Tamil Nadu's politics, right, it is unique in itself. It had some unique social movement as well as ethnic identity, and one of the main reasons why Jayalalitha was able to rule for this many years, because she was able to, you can say, keep a good balance and a good relation with the different castes that are very important in Tamil Nadu's politics. So she was able to handle them, but after her death, you can say the followers or the hierarchy was not able to do the same thing. So now let's see how things let's see what Rajinikanth is going to do. He has talked about this spiritual politics. Now we have to wait and watch whether what he means exactly by spiritual politics, whether he's talking about antithesis of corruption, that is going against corruption and things like that, or whether he's talking about Hindutva politics. Because remember, in Tamil Nadu you have this Dravida identity, right? So it is against, or you can say not happy with this Hindutva or Brahminical style, or you can say of politics. So we don't know whether he is for this thing or this thing. So let's see whether he is able to clear this test of fire or not. With this, this one is about triple talaq. Very interesting views of Kapil Sibal. Some bits are political here, but we have done cherry picking here. We have taken all those bits and pieces that are important for our capacity building. Rest of the things I have left it for other people. Now basically this judgment of Supreme Court, right, it has three different you can say, either you can term it judgments, or you can say you have three different angles. First one is of Justice Nariman and Justice Lalit. They say that this practice of triple talaq is arbitrary and it is unconstitutional, and this is one of the reasons why it is void. Then you have a view of Justice Kehar and Justice Nazir. Now let me tell you some basic things about this bench. All the judges, right, came from different religious background. Very good thing. The result was 3:2, right? Of course the majority wins. So 3 judges said that they are against this triple talaq in a very layman's language, if I may use, and 2 judges, that is Justice Kehar and Justice Nazir, they said that we should not interfere, or it should be allowed with some changes. Anyways, so basically at present this thing is void. It is unconstitutional. It is not allowed in our country. Now the third angle is of Justice Kurian Joseph. He disagreed with Justice Nariman as well as Justice Lalit. He said that Muslim personal law cannot be struck down as arbitrary and unconstitutional. Remember, he's not talking about triple talaq here. He's talking about personal laws. He said that they cannot be struck down as arbitrary and unconstitutional. He also held that this particular practice, now he's coming specifically on triple talaq, he said that this practice is not sanctified by the Quran. And truly, right, if you go through Quran and if you understand this whole thing, then you will find that Prophet Muhammad at that point of time, it was very innovative thing to talk about divorce. Before that, people were not knowing about divorce in different religions. So this was a very innovative thing at that point of time. And truly, right, if you think rather than having a life full of fight and conflict, right, it is better to move on. So divorce is not all bad. Of course it is painful, but if everyone behaves sensibly, then it is a good option, or you can say the only option that you have. So in Quran, it as per the Quran, and again in layman's language, when things are not going right between husband and wife, then first time when you say talaq, at that point of time, relatives from both sides or sensible people will be called in, and they will you can say counsel both husband and wife, and then you have some more days, right, and if in this few days, if things are not right, then you have a second time. I'm not going specifically. I think in total you have some 90 days or something, right? And then the second time, same thing takes place. All these people will come in. They will take part in the counseling session, and again they will start living with each other. Of course, when I say start living with each other, they are not separated. They live at the same place, right? And finally, if after 90 days or something, if things are not right, then only you can think about moving ahead or drifting apart from each other. Now the thing is how this thing used to work. Just by a simple WhatsApp message, you write triple talaq 3 times and then you say everything is over. So this was done by men, right? It was the husband who was able to do this thing. So naturally, this is not how a relationship works, isn't it? So naturally it is void in our country. Now the legislation, the thing that is tabled in the parliament, right, it has 3 different things. First one is, we have talked about this thing, but it's a sort of revision for you guys. Now already, if Supreme Court has said this is void, then why you are coming out with this thing? Of course, Ravi Shankar Prasad a couple of days ago said that even after the judgment, we had said this 100 cases or 100 plus cases of triple talaq. So of course, right, that's fine. It is fair that we need a sort of law, but what makes it a sort of criminally culpable? Why it is or why you are placing it in a non-bailable category? It is a civil thing, and the other thing is that a third person can even file a case. So if someone wants trouble in your house, then they can use this lie and they can file a complaint, and the husband will go straight in the jail. So if this is how you are going to design, or the government is going to design this thing, then this is going to create more problem, right? And they are also talking about this subsistence allowance. Now subsistence allowance basically takes place when divorce is there, if this triple talaq thing is void, and if you are saying triple talaq even 50 times, then this is not going to create any sort of divorce. So there is no point of talking about this subsistence allowance at all. So government has to think about it, and this is a news here. There was a adjournment based on this thing. Pakistan has released a video of Kulbhushan Jadhav. Very sadly, Pakistan is continuing with its misbehavior. And of course, we know that this is a sort of propaganda of Pakistan. If they want to prove themselves, then the best thing they can do is allow us to provide consular access to Mr. Jadhav. This is a gift that we are going to get from Israel. Some very important specification of this vehicle here. I will take you through one of the most important one, and it is that it can be used during natural disasters like floods. Imagine every year we have situation of flood in Assam, so this can be deployed at that point of time, and people can be provided with water. It can be used, it has other purposes as well, and it consumes very low power, it is mobile, it produces drinking water as per this WHO's standard. So it is a very good thing, and hopefully we can create a replica or make a better version of this thing. You never know, but this thing is a game changer for our country, no doubt. With this, governor of Tamil Nadu has hailed Quit India movement that took place in Tamil Nadu, and he has hailed the role of Tamil Nadu and people of Tamil Nadu during this Quit India movement. He talks about a name called Kamarajar, right? So this is the only important bit that I find here, right? Just in case if you are preparing for Tamil Nadu State Public Service Commission exam, then this is important for you, and it is important for all of you national level exams, right, aspirants, that Quit India movement is a very important part of our modern history. So whenever you are going through history subject, make sure you have a very good understanding of Quit India movement, because you find questions on this thing. Now, as I told you, that we don't have that many articles today in the Hindu, so what I have done is I have compensated you guys with some articles from Business Standard or other financial papers, right? So here you have this thing called Finance Minister has sought Parliament's approval to spend 800 billion rupees extra this fiscal year to recapitalize bank, and he talks about this non-SLR. SLR basically stands for it is a portion of deposits that banks need to invest in government security. He has also said that these structural reforms will create some positive results in long term. With this, we know that the USA is about to change, or it is making necessary changes with its visa regime, and this is going to create good news for India, because at present, as per different financial papers, concerns over visa restrictions promoting global firms to explore centers in India. So investment may come in India. We may find more centers here in India. This is about bond, not James Bond, electoral bond. And one information that is released, the latest one, is that if within 15 days, if political parties are not redeeming this bonds, right, then the money will go straight into Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. A special video lecture at present in Hindi is available on our YouTube channel. I have talked about this electoral bond and how things work in our country, so make sure you check that one out. English version will be out very soon. With this, dear friends, that's everything that we have got in today's discussion. Answers are Fossil, Indigo Worker and Kalahari Desert. These are your questions here. Who was known as Martin Luther of India? Then which of the following leader never became the president of National Congress? And what is the name of a strait where Adams Bridge is situated? With this, dear friends, don't forget to check out StudyIQ.com for our pen drive and tablet courses, and at present up to 40% discount is available, so make sure you make the most out of it. Today is the last date for this up to 40% discount. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can download this file from my Facebook page as well as our official Telegram channel. You can motivate me, you can motivate us, you can cheer us by giving us your like to this video. I would be eagerly waiting for your answers of the questions that I have just asked you, and I wish that you have a very wicked, very smashing day ahead. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.